In our last movie on customization, we discussed the page layout ribbon. I emphasized the commands that were about personalization. This time, I'd like to emphasize page setup and arrangement options that are found on page layout. We'll also discuss headers and footers. However, headers and footers are found under the Insert ribbon. That's the type of question that you'll need to keep in mind for the exam. I may say that I'm working with page layout. Where will I find my headers and footers? You'll just need to know that that's not actually included in page layout, but under the Insert ribbon. First, let's begin by talking about our page setup. In particular, I'd like to introduce columns. On the bottom of my page, I have a couple bullet points that I'd like to switch over for columns. I may choose to use a column in the interest of either saving space or simply for the visual appeal. After highlighting the information that you'd like in columns, I'll go to the pull down next to the word column. In this instance, I'd like 2 columns, so I simply select 2. You will now notice that my text has been rearranged to fit in a column, but has not actually pulled over to 2 columns. I must go to the beginning of the second column and actually insert a break to put in that column. Again, when inserting a column, first I select the number of columns, and then I must select the column break. When I select the column break, you will then notice it pulls it across into 2 columns on the screen itself. So page setup is where we find our columns. I'd now like to talk about arrangement. And to do so, I'm going to go back to the top where I actually have a picture. When I select the picture, you will notice under Arrangement that features such as Bring to the Front, Send to the Back, and Position and Text Wrapping appear. Text wrapping is what allows me to choose how the items will wrap around the text itself. If you are unsure of what each of these items stand for, make it a point to go into more layout options. Under the Text Wrapping tab, you will notice that it explains to you in detail what it will do. I highly recommend that you try out each style to really understand the purpose behind the selection. I now have the picture selected, formatted as square. If I change it to top and bottom and say OK, you'll notice that a full line of text appears before and after the picture. I will undo back to square, and you notice it wraps around the actual paragraph. Text wrapping gives me a lot of control over that photo. If, however, you'd just like to arrange it on the page and you're looking for a quick solution, think of position. Position will give us some preset positioning on the page that will place our picture in different areas. So positioning will be a quick feature. Text wrapping will give us more control. Now let's talk about our headers and footers. If you remember from earlier, we must change to the Insert menu, and that is where we'll find our header and footer. When I select the pull down for header, you will see there are some preset headers that are in there. If I want to change a header, I'll simply select Edit Header. Let's start by taking one of the presets. Here you'll notice it put my title in automatically. That title came from the name of the document. It's important to remember that when putting in the title header, it pulls it from the name of the document. Now if I'd like to edit that header, you will notice that I've immediately entered a design toolbar based on headers and footers. On the top of your screen, you will see in green where I am now in a Tools menu. This allows me to go to the footer, to a previous section. I can change my first page to be different. If at this point I'm interested in simply editing my title, I can go in and start typing. For an example, I'll just delete 2007. Now notice how it shows me my header section 1 and my title. Notice that my text is grayed out. If I go to this text and double click on it, I am now in my document and my header is grayed out. Simply double click on the header and you're back in to change it. If I'd like to add a page number, I can simply go to page number and add it to the top or the bottom of the document. Adding a footer is similar to adding a header, other than it will appear on the bottom of the page. I'm going to choose a plain number on the bottom of the page. Here you'll notice the footer appeared with page number 1 in the center. Make sure that you play around with headers and footers, understand how they affect your document, and keep in mind that we can easily toggle by double-clicking on our document or double-clicking on the header and footer. This makes it very easy to actually change your information. Take a moment to review each of the toolbars that are contained within the header and footer tools. And again, you may wish to refer to our course on Microsoft Word for even more in-depth information on preparing headers and footers.